Serena tilted her head to check, and seeing that his eyes were truly closed, she watched him intently. But she didn't stop his hands as they unfastened the buttons. When the last button was undone, she bit her lower lip and shrugged out of the pajama top. Without its protection, her whole body trembled slightly. Then she heard the man with his eyes closed push his luck even further. The pants are really thick, too. Wah. No. Serena clutched her chest and wiggled in protest. You won't sleep well if you're too hot. I told you I wouldn't bully you. Trust me. Cole continued his benevolent seduction. MMHMM. Good girl. You'll sleep better without them. I'll hold you all night. I'm scared. Don't be. I promised. Serena was silent for a moment before she finally whispered. Then you better not break your promise. Don't worry. After a bit of rustling, Serena, now protected only by her cartoon bear underwear, shivered slightly. She peeked at Cole and saw his eyes were still closed, which calmed her a little. The feeling of skin on skin was a world away from having clothes between them. The slightest touch of his leg sent her heart racing. It was only when Cole started rubbing her back again that she gradually relaxed. From a small touch to a larger patch, until her entire body was pressed against his, reveling in the comfort of his touch. Just hold me like this, and don't you dare open your eyes. All right, I promise I won't look, Cole said with an inward smirk. Through his barely open eyelids, he could see her expression perfectly. The lights were still on. Cole, I'll be able to help you when I'm a sophomore. I can't right now. There's still so much I don't know, Serena said suddenly, bringing up her role as legal counsel. She desperately wanted to be able to help him, but she knew that studying law required a lot of time and foundational knowledge. There's no rush. The company is just starting out. You'll become more and more important as we grow, so you have plenty of time. Having Serena on board in the future would protect him from getting scammed on contracts, but he wouldn't pressure her. It would happen when it was meant to happen. Cole, you're so good to me, Serena said, overcome with emotion. She buried her face in his chest and took a deep breath of his scent. She loved it. You got great taste. You're so vain. I've got even better things. Where? Right here. You jerk. The two of them began to play fight under the covers, Serena's giggles mixing with Cole's mischievous chuckles. Time slipped by as their souls connected. Serena completely relaxed, occasionally wiggling to find a more comfortable position. She couldn't stop the hand that was roaming up and down her back, and she didn't want to. Outside, the cold wind howled. Inside, the room was warm with affection. The blush on Serena's face spread down to her neck. She pretended not to notice the Nokia pressing against her. But just then, her phone rang again, startling her so badly she jumped. She scrambled out from under the covers, grabbed her phone, and her face went pale. She shot a look at Cole and gestured frantically. Chill, it's my mom. Forgetting the cold, she sat up and answered the phone. Hello, Mom, what's wrong? She asked, trying her best to sound calm while keeping her voice low. Serena, what are you doing? Her mother, Helen's, voice sounded normal, as if it were just a casual question. But Serena knew. Her mother rarely called this late. Something was off. Cole quickly grabbed the covers and wrapped them around Serena, not even bothering to cover himself. Serena gave him a sweet smile and pulled him under the blanket with her. I'm sleeping, Mom. Is it cold in your dorm? No, I'm in bed. Are your roommates all asleep? They are. We have an 8 a.m. class tomorrow, so we all went to bed early, Serena said, glancing at Cole. Her roommate was here, just of a different gender. Cole blinked at her. Serena fought back a smile, pressing her lips together. But her mother's next words sent a shockwave through her. That roommate you're close with put her on the phone. Serena's heart leaped into her throat. What is going on today? Did Dad say something to Mom? She forced herself to remain calm and refused her mother's request. What? Mom, she's probably asleep. It's not right to wake her up just for this. Why do you need to talk to her? She had to stand her ground now and even turn the question back on her mother. As much as she feared her mother's sternness, the current situation demanded she protect her position. Oh, she's asleep? Never mind then. Don't wake her. Your father mentioned that you were with that cold chum boy today. Helen's voice on the other end of the line was flat, ignoring her daughter's question. Serena instinctively glanced at Cole again before replying coolly, No, not really. I ran into him while I was out to dinner with Dad. We all ate together, and then I came back to campus. I'm not blaming you for anything, Serena. It's fine to have friends. It's normal. But you can't let friendships interfere with your studies. Your education comes first, friends second. You have a long road ahead of you, and you'll meet plenty of outstanding young men in the future. There's no need to rush. Helen's tone was consistently level, devoid of anger. But Serena's brow furrowed. Was her mother wrong? No. But she knew very well that her mother's definition of outstanding was heavily weighted by status, political, artistic, or economic. It meant having prospects. Was that wrong for a mother who wanted the best for her daughter? No. So Serena couldn't argue. It was just that the pressure her mother exerted was immense. In the past, she had habitually obeyed. But now, with her spirit so much freer and happier, she found the pressure suffocating. She was intelligent, and she wanted the man she loved to strive for greatness. But greatness didn't have to mean ruling a region, being world famous, or having endless wealth. As long as he was striving, moving toward a better life, that was enough. But she didn't dare say any of this. It would only lead to more lectures. The truth was, she deeply respected and admired her mother. Her mother had once been the treasured jewel of her family. For love, she had married Serena's father when he was just a secretary to a county official. Both of them were in the system, and the pressure within that system was immense. Over time, her mother had changed, placing all her hopes on her daughter. Those hopes were a mountain on Serena's shoulders, pressing down, suffocating her. It felt like every day of her studies was for the sole purpose of fulfilling her mother's dreams. But she could find no reason to object, and she couldn't bear to hurt her mother's feelings. "I know, Mom. Don't worry. I'll study hard." This, at least, was not a lie. She had to study hard. She had to become a good legal counsel for her own company. After all, she would figure out the rest later. Good. But don't work yourself too hard, either. It's all about balance. I just don't want you to take the wrong path, sweetheart. Helen's voice seemed to crack for a moment. "I understand, Mom. I love you," Serena said, her intuition picking up on the shift. She offered a word of comfort. "Okay, go to sleep." After hanging up, Serena's brow remained furrowed as she stared into space. It broke Cole's heart to see her like this. He'd heard most of the conversation with his future mother-in-law. The phone's earpiece had been loud enough. He scooted closer and wrapped her in his arms, gently smoothing the worry from her forehead. Serena turned her head and saw his eyes, filled with love and pain for her. She couldn't hold back any longer. She collapsed into his arms, her shoulders shaking as silent sobs racked her body. Cole felt his chest grow damp with her tears. He held her tighter, pulling the covers around them and stroking her back. He sighed internally. The well-connected Serena had never been arrogant or domineering, which spoke to a good upbringing, but also a strict one. They were clearly very protective of her. Otherwise, the love letter incident would never have happened. He wasn't a rich kid or the son of an official. He couldn't truly understand. But her expression and her answers just now were proof of the immense pressure she was under. "Don't worry," Cole murmured. "I'll work my ass off to get bigger and stronger. I'll make you proud, and I'll make your parents trust me." This was from the heart. He'd gone through 3 phases with this kind of thinking. As a teenager, he believed it, only to be treated like a joke. After he turned cynical, he thought it was a stupid idea. But now, he felt it was necessary again. If she was willing to meet him halfway, then it was a goal worth having. Building an empire for the woman he loved? That was all the motivation he needed. It was clear his sudden appearance in her life had created a rift between Serena and her mother. He had to see it through to the end. Cole suddenly remembered the short video clips of Serena he'd seen on TikTok in his past life. Her brow was perpetually furrowed in a serious frown, her glasses perched on her nose. She was only 30, but looked like an old professor, with a few strands of gray at her temples. She had a Ph.D. and a high-ranking government position for someone so young. But was she happy then? Serena, curled in his arms, looked up at him, her eyes misty with tears. "You just have to do what you want to do. I'll be with you." She continued, "Money and time are a trade-off. I don't want you to spend all your time making money. We can just live our lives to the fullest. Mom will understand. Look at that. Just look at that. What do you even call that?" Cole was stunned. This was a true beacon, a real guiding light. Not the kind of girl who made your face turn pale and your bank account empty every month. "No, I still have to make money. The more, the better. And we'll live our lives to the fullest together," Cole said, planting a kiss on her cheek. "The less you care about it, the more I'll give you. Then you have to promise me one thing," Serena said, her face tilted up, letting him kiss away her tears. "Name it. You can't leave me. You have to take me with you wherever you go. Forever." Her eyes were filled with a desperate longing and a deep dependence. Cole felt it keenly. He continued kissing her as he spoke. "I promise. I'll never leave you. I'll always take you with me." "Okay." Serena pressed her cheek against his, nuzzling him like a kitten. The interruption had completely extinguished Cole's wicked thoughts. He settled her down, and they fell asleep in each other's arms. His arm, however, was in for a rough night. Serena would only sleep in two positions, either pressed face-to-face in a tight embrace or sprawled on top of him like a frog. But sleeping on top of him for too long made it hard for both of them to breathe, so Cole had to opt for the first. The next morning, they were up at 6:40. Cole got dressed first, then tucked Serena's clothes under the covers so she could get dressed in the warmth and privacy of the blanket. As the daylight streamed in, her face was perpetually flushed with embarrassment. After she was dressed, Cole the devoted got on his knees and put on her socks and boots for her. Then he stood up and opened his arms with a smile. Serena understood instantly. With a joyful leap, she jumped onto him, wrapping her legs around his waist like an octopus, giggling uncontrollably. Her earlier tension had vanished. Cole held her by her bottom as they went to the bathroom to brush their teeth, fooling around for a while longer. When they got back to Office 1520 at the Venture Lab, Yvonne shot them a strange look. Cole pretended not to notice. "Yvonne," he said, "later today, I need you to come with me to that spicy noodle shop." "Okay, Mr. Chun." He had to move on that storefront, and fast. Whether he could actually get it or not was another question, but he had to try. He couldn't risk the couple having a final, explosive fight and slapping a "For Lee" sign on the door. If that happened, he'd have zero chance of getting it, or he'd have to pay a fortune. It wasn't worth it. The promotions department was running smoothly now, so Yvonne could spare some time to help him. Her promoters were experienced enough to handle the university campuses on their own. And since Headline Today had established a foothold, they no longer needed to hire temporary staff, which cut down on expenses. Cole spent the morning checking in on the various departments. In the afternoon, he took Yvonne back to Catbird Lane. It was no use going earlier. The shop wouldn't be open. As they approached, they could already hear shouting. A war was breaking out at Lou's Spicy Noodle and Hot Pot, though it wasn't drawing much of a crowd. Most people just cast a curious glance as they passed by. Cole and Yvonne exchanged a look. This is it, Cole thought. We got here just in time. Yvonne was thinking, Mr. Chun, you really know how to manifest things. Not wanting to stare, they bought a bag of roasted chestnuts from a nearby vendor and watched from a distance as they ate. He hadn't gotten a good look last night, but in the daylight, he could see them more clearly. The man was average-looking, with an honest face. The woman was slightly overweight, with fine lines around her eyes, but her skin was fair. We don't make any money, but you act like you're so busy every day. You never even see your kid. The woman spat, sitting on a stool. You see what it's like here every day. Is it my fault? The man shot back from the other side of the small shop, his face grim. So it's my fault? Am I wrong? We're not making money, so you're just wasting your time. The woman glared. You're never wrong. You're always right. And besides, he's not even my kid. I give you money for him. Isn't that enough? What's with that attitude? We're married. You're supposed to give me money. Is there anything I'm not supposed to give you? I work my ass off every day. Have you ever once worried about it? Where were you the day before yesterday? Where could I have been? I went out for a walk. Is that a crime? Am I not allowed even a little bit of freedom now that I'm married to you? If you wanted freedom so badly, why did you get married? They argued back and forth for a long time. They were speaking in a local dialect, but Cole could understand most of it. The story was both complicated and simple. They were both on their second marriage. The woman had a child from her previous one, and the man had a relative who had helped them get the storefront. They had sunk all their money into it, with nothing left for a house or a car. Things were fine at first, but gradually, conflicts over money, the child, and what his relatives thought began to surface. The argument reached a climax when the man, unable to take it anymore, slammed a ladle down on the counter. The couple fell into a silent, cold war. Cole gave Yvonne a look, and they walked toward the shop. Yvonne didn't quite understand the look, but she guessed it was time for her boss to make his move, so she followed. "Excuse me," Cole said, picking out a few items and placing them in a basket. "How much for these?" $12. "Pay first," the man said, his face a mask of indifference. "Sure." Cole pulled out a 20 and handed it to him. "Business must be better at night. Doesn't seem like many people eat here during the day." The man didn't answer, his face tight with suppressed anger. The woman sat with her legs crossed, her eyes full of resentment. Yvonne got another look from her boss. She knew it was her cue. She started peeling a chestnut and said kindly to the woman, "Hey, you know what they say, a happy heart brings wealth. You two are arguing so loudly you're scaring away the customers. But I get it, this kind of work is exhausting. You should get some family to help out." "Help my ass. He can do whatever the hell he wants," the woman snapped, turning her head away. "What's that supposed to mean? I'm doing this for our family. You make it sound like it has nothing to do with you." The man's voice rose in anger. "It has nothing to do with me. Isn't it your job to make money?" The woman sneered. The man's face went from white to green, his eyes filled with rage and despair. Hey, let's not fight, Cole chimed in. Every family has its problems. Just calm down and talk it out. And maybe make my food while you're at it. An 18-year-old kid trying to counsel a couple in their 30s was a strange sight, but his words had no effect. The man finally exploded. If you think this has nothing to do with you, then we're done. We're not getting past this until you tell me where you were the day before yesterday. Fine, let's be done. You think no one else wants me? That's hilarious. Divorce. We'll get a divorce tomorrow morning. I can't wait to be rid of you. The woman shot up from her stool, her face a mask of contempt, but with a hint of desperation in her eyes. Fine. Divorce. Tomorrow morning. The man's face twitched, his jaw clenched. It's settled then. You can run this place by yourself. The woman spat and stormed out, her large behind swaying like an oversized sheep's tail. The man collapsed onto his stool, speechless. Cole shot another look at Yvonne. Go, Pikachu. He understood the whole story now. He even felt a little sorry for the guy. He had definitely been cheated on, but sympathy was one thing, business was another. And frankly, selling the shop would be the best thing for the man. Their problems were irreconcilable. Cole had to secure this place, and fast. This was where Yvonne's role was crucial. Sir, don't get so worked up, Yvonne said, playing her part. Call her and ask her to come back. How are you going to manage this all by yourself? Let her go wherever she wants, the man replied, his voice weak. Seriously, she just left? Without even thinking about how you're supposed to handle things here. Yvonne continued to stoke the fire. I'm not handling it. Let me just refund you. You can go somewhere else. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I can do it myself, Cole said quickly, waving his hands. How hard could it be to cook a few vegetables and broth? He'd seen it done 1,000 times. The main goal was to buy more time for Yvonne. With a customer insisting on cooking his own food, what could the man say? He just mumbled an apology. Yvonne then used this as an opening to chat with the man. At first, he was reluctant to talk, but her patient and understanding demeanor, combined with his positive impression of the two customers, eventually opened the floodgates. He poured out all his grievances. They talked for over an hour. Cole even helped serve a few customers, only grabbing a bite for himself during a lull. Anyone watching would have thought he was the owner. Brother, Yvonne said, finally seeing her chance, you'd be better off just selling the place. At least you'd get some of your money back, recoup some of your losses. That's what I'm planning to do, the man said without hesitation. His mind was made up. There's no point in continuing. Cole kept himself busy, his expression unreadable. Yvonne knew this was the critical moment. She didn't look at her boss. They couldn't look at each other now. Even a fool would know they were up to something. You could just sell it, you know? No need to kill yourself over it. Take the money and do literally anything else, Yvonne said. To break him from his train of thought, she added, you should call her, have her come back. Tell her you're selling the place. It's better to part on good terms, and you probably need her signature anyway, right? The hell I need her signature for? I signed the lease. I put up the money. Oh, well, that makes it easier, Yvonne said, then pretended to have a sudden idea. She turned to Cole. Cole, didn't you say your family was looking to open a shop? I think this location is pretty good. Huh? Oh yeah, they are. I hadn't even asked, Cole said, feigning confusion before a look of realization dawned on him. We're looking for a spot anyway. Sir, if you're selling, sell it to me. I'll make sure you get a fair price for it. Your family? The man asked, a flicker of consideration in his eyes. Yeah, my family. They mentioned it a while back, but I didn't pay it much mind, Cole said, knowing that the phrase fair price was what had hooked him. Any other approach might have made the man suspicious. He was an idiot. I'm planning to sell. How much is your family offering for the transfer? Getting down to business. The man's energy seemed to return. Cole smiled. That's up to you. I won't lowball you, and you don't gouge me. Just add up everything you've put into it. Making an outrageous offer was out of the question. The man fell silent, clearly thinking. Yvonne struck while the iron was hot. Sir, if you're serious about selling, you could be open with us. Cole's family is genuinely looking for a location. It's better than listing it publicly. If you list it, you'll get 100 people trying to haggle you down. If you don't like our offer, you can always list it then. What do you think? The man glanced around the small shop. A hot pot place didn't have much equipment. A freezer, some burners. It didn't even have an air conditioner. I've still got 6 months of rent paid up at the management office. That has to be part of the deal. Of course, Cole nodded earnestly. Trust me, sir, I'll make sure you don't lose out. If you decide I'm not the right buyer, you can still put up a for sale sign. I'm sure you'll get plenty of interest. If this were a normal business closure, the owner would want as many potential buyers as possible. But for this guy, Cole was betting he didn't want the hassle of endless negotiations. He was already stressed out. A quick, clean deal would be a relief. Yvonne chimed in again. Sir, If you're thinking about not getting a divorce, then there's no need to sell. Call her. Tell her to come back and run the business. Letting it sit empty isn't a solution. I mean, look, my classmate is already helping you out. Her unspoken point hung in the air. And if you're really ready to cut your losses and move on, then selling to my classmate is the easiest, most painless way out. Silence fell over the shop. Cole and Yvonne said no more. There were no customers. After several long minutes, the man seemed to make up his mind. I want $8,000 for the business assets and equipment, and you'll have to cover the rent I've already paid. If you can accept that, the place is yours. Sir, let me just make a quick call, Cole said, pulling out his phone. He walked outside, pretending to talk to his family. He was fine with the price. He wasn't getting a steal, but it wasn't a rip-off either. You couldn't expect to win every negotiation. Inside, Yvonne offered a comforting word to the man. You've really been through a lot. Just blinded by wishful thinking, he sighed. Don't you kids make the same mistake. You're still young, sir. You got plenty of opportunities. You'll definitely meet a good woman, Yvonne said, sneaking a glance at her boss outside. She wished she could be the one to blind him with wishful thinking, but he wasn't biting. She feigned casual curiosity. Is the transfer process complicated? My classmate has never done this before. It's not. My uncle's cousin works at the property management office. I wouldn't have even gotten this spot without him. Ugh, who knew it would turn out like this? You've had it tough, sir. After a few more minutes of the man venting, his mood had improved considerably. Cole finished his call and came back inside. Sir, my family gave the okay. They said I can handle it. If you're ready, we can get the paperwork done now. I don't really know the process, so I'd appreciate it if you could walk me through it. Now that the moment was here, the man showed a flicker of hesitation. It was a normal reaction, one Cole understood completely, which was why he needed Yvonne. Sir, if you can make this decision on your own, let's do it now. If you need your wife to be here, you might as well just keep the shop open. Maybe she'll come to appreciate you later. As a marketing pro, Yvonne knew how to twist the knife. Would his wife appreciate him? If it was a first marriage, a first love, maybe there'd be lingering affection. But a second marriage that had already soured this badly. As expected, the man's face hardened. No need for that, he said decisively. Let's get it done. I don't have time for this stuff. I never wanted to run a damn noodle shop in the first place. For a split second, a look of resentment flashed in his eyes, the bitterness of effort unrewarded. After helping the man lock up, the three of them headed for the management office, with Yvonne keeping the man engaged in conversation the whole way. Cole had been worried he didn't bring the original lease, but the man waved it off. Don't need it. The new lease will just state that the old one is void. The management office only cares about collecting rent. Besides, my relative is there. It's no problem. The last thing the man wanted was to go back to his empty apartment. They arrived at the management office, a single-story block building, and his relative was indeed there. After hearing the story, the man, who was in his 50s, rolled his eyes. The whole family told you she wasn't right for you, and you didn't listen. Well, it's not too late to wake up. Get it done, get it done. Get the divorce, open a convenience store or something. The shop owner just sighed. The older man squinted at Cole. Your family approved this? This ain't a joke, son. We're talking thousands of dollars. Don't want them coming back here blaming us. Cole nodded respectfully. Don't worry, sir. My family trusts my judgment. What I say goes. Besides, I'm an adult. I take responsibility for my actions. Signing the new lease was quick. The rent was based on a rate of about $14 per square foot per year, for a space of 168 SQ. FD. The lease still had 8 years left. The original owner had been optimistic, signing a 10-year term. The old lease was officially voided. Kid, you make sure you're up to code on fire safety. That's the most important thing, the older man advised. You got it, sir. I'll be on top of it. Also, the man added, getting to his real point, any of that equipment you don't want, you can sell to me. I'll give you a decent price. Old fox, Cole thought with a smile. It didn't matter. Selling the secondhand equipment would be a hassle anyway, and the freezer wasn't right for a tea shop. He immediately went to a nearby bank and transferred the money to the man, stopping on the way back to pick up a nice bottle of Maker's Mark for the old man at the management office. After a show of polite refusal, the man accepted it with a grudging smile, though the delight in his eyes said, this kid's got a future. He knows how things work. It was a necessary expense. Cole knew how important it was to have the property manager on your side. As long as they were happy, nobody could cause trouble for his shop here. Back at the shop, they did a final handover. The man left without a single backward glance. So, Mr. Chun, Yvonne said, beaming, how did I do? Absolutely perfect. Come on, dinner's on me tonight. Whatever you want, Cole said, feeling magnanimous. This new head of marketing was a perfect fit. He immediately called Mr. Huang, the contractor, and told him to start work as soon as possible. Then he waited at the new shop, calling a locksmith to change the locks. By the time a cheerful Mr. Huang arrived and received the new key, it was already 5 in the afternoon, the sky growing dim. Time for a reward. Yvonne didn't like spicy food, so to accommodate his star employee, they found a seafood restaurant. The seafood in a landlocked city like Rockford was nothing special, but Yvonne was ecstatic. A one-on-one dinner with Mr. Chun was a rare opportunity. As they ate, her gaze started to take on a different, more intense quality. If only we could go see a movie after this, she thought. She was 100 times curious and 1,000 times impressed by her boss. The fact that 3 of the most beautiful girls on campus worked for him wrapped him in an aura of mystery. And on top of that, he was just genuinely handsome. But she could also sense a distance he maintained. Cole was, of course, fully aware of the extra attention from his marketing head. He saw the fiery look in her eyes, but didn't acknowledge it, didn't meet it. The old Cole would have jumped at the chance. But things were different now. He already had 3 plates spinning. He had no business looking at what else was on the buffet. Even if he said yes, his own body would protest. Juggling his 3 goddesses was already going to drain him completely. Who had the energy for more? He had even started consciously working out, not for a six-pack, but for long-term stamina. A good general always secures his supply lines before the battle. Yvonne was smart and sharp-witted, with a fiery personality. She was a valuable subordinate worth developing. By the end of the meal, Yvonne's heart was full of unspoken disappointment. Mr. Chen hadn't made a single move. Not one. He did, however, give her another bonus as a reward for helping secure the new location. It was infuriating, and yet, it only made her more attracted to him, more challenged. A man like that had substance. The next morning, Cole posted a job opening on Headline Today. Taping a flyer to the shop security gate was pointless. Someone would just rip it down. He was hiring 4 people for the new Catbird Lane location by Eastwood Teachers College, with training to be conducted at the original Eastwood University shop. Catbird Lane had heavy foot traffic, especially with all the students from the women's college, so a 3-person rotating shift wouldn't be enough. The new shop will be called the ETC branch. He'd pick a manager from the existing staff. If no one wanted to commute, he'd have to train someone new. Pushed by the platform's algorithm, the job posting spread quickly. Since the Tea Alchemist had started advertising on Headline Today, its brand recognition had soared. The limited number of locations meant he was leaving a lot of money on the table from students at other universities. It was painful to think about. Still, sales at the original shop and the Eastwood Tech branch had seen a significant boost. It took 2 days to fill the positions. When he was in charge of the interviews, Cole had bigger plans for Wendy. With another store opening, he needed a supervisor. He had already tasked her with managing relationships with their suppliers, with a corresponding pay raise, of course. Luna was in charge of finance. Afraid of forgetting things, Cole started carrying a small notebook. He should probably get a secretary, but he figured it was still too early for that. Mr. Huang was familiar with the new shop's renovation. It was a small space, and Cole only had to explain the layout once. Cole then found Whitney Yuan in the marketing department to check on the progress of the dance competition. Everything was on schedule. With the official backing of the student activities boards, major universities like Eastwood Tech and Eastwood State were all participating. The 12 competing teams were all in intensive rehearsals. The venue was booked, the deposit paid. All they had to do was show up and set up on the day of the event. This was Whitney's first major project, and she was pouring her heart into it, running around to triple-check every detail. Cole felt he could relax. It was good to have professionals doing professional work. Mr. Chun, come take a look at this, Fiona, the head of the content department, called out. Her expression was a strange mix of excitement and conflict. Has she had a breakthrough? Cole wondered, walking over. The first thing he saw was Fiona's Headline Today profile. She proudly wiggled the mouse over her follower count. Whoa, over 30,000. Not bad. Your followers have exploded, Cole said, genuinely impressed. Mr. Chun, look at this, Fiona said mysteriously, clicking open her serialized short story. It was a new one. The premise: a guy and a girl get into a prestigious university together. The guy meets a rich heiress, the second female lead, because of a stray cat. Meanwhile, the main girl meets a domineering CEO, the second male lead, because of a stray dog. Cole's mouth twitched. Holy crap. When a literary girl goes full-on soap opera, she's more ruthless than I am. The male lead feeds a stray cat and meets the rich girl. Together, they rescue the cat, which is stuck in a tree. Cole's face darkened. He could just imagine the cat cursing them out. A little privacy, you morons. And tragically, who happens to see this tender moment? The main female lead. Meanwhile, The female lead is feeding a stray dog and sees it flailing in a pond. She panics and screams for help. Who should happen to be there, also feeding a dog? The domineering CEO. Without a second thought, shoes and all, he leaps into the water to rescue the dog. He gets out, sneezes, and catches a cold. The guilt-ridden female lead has no choice but to accompany the CEO to the hospital. In his Maserati. And who happens to see that? The main male lead. Are you kidding me? Cole was fuming. He desperately wanted to grab Fiona and shake her. What happened to your literary soul? Pick it up off the floor. The dog was just going for a swim. Naturally, misunderstandings ensued, followed by several chapters of angst. Then, the main couple suddenly realizes they are deeply in love and resolve to keep their distance from the CEO and the heiress. A smile touched Cole's lips. Okay, that's more like it. Time for some sweetness. But one day, the male lead is on his way to the dining hall when he's confronted by a third male love interest, who slugs him in the face. The heiress has been miserable for days, you bastard. I won't let you hurt her. Go apologize. After landing the punch, this new guy drops to his knees, sobbing. I'm begging you. Go see her. So the male lead goes. The heiress is sitting under a large oak tree, looking forlorn. When she sees him, she bursts into tears and throws herself into his arms. And by sheer coincidence, the main female lead just happens to be walking by. Of course, the misunderstanding deepens. Heartbroken, the female lead wanders aimlessly until the domineering CEO pulls up in his Maserati. He doesn't even bother to park properly, just leaps out of the car, yelling her name, and sweeps her into a forceful, passionate embrace. I will never allow you to be sad, he roars. But, as luck would have it, a third female love interest appears. She's in love with the CEO. She marches up and slaps the main female lead across the face. Where did this tramp come from, trying to seduce my man? To be continued. Cole frantically raked his hands through his hair, turning it into a bird's nest. He didn't know how he'd made it to the end. He turned to Fiona, his eyes a little bloodshot. Mr. Chun, Fiona asked, waiting eagerly for praise. Wasn't it just so moving? Moving. Extremely moving. So moving he wanted to hit someone. Cole took a series of deep breaths, trying to quell the violent impulse. Who was the idiot who had told her to write this stuff in the first place? He'd said her last story wasn't painful enough. Well, this was painful, right? A full-blown migraine. He forced himself to remain calm and looked at the story stats. Over 260,000 views and more than 10,000 comments. It was staggering. The comments were split evenly between love and hate, with a healthy dose of people who loved to hate it. Seeing her boss's prolonged silence, Fiona began to fidget, her expression turning anxious. Finally, Cole spoke. Excellent. This is exactly the flavor we needed. Excellent. You deserve praise for this. For a moment, he'd gotten sucked in as a reader and nearly lost his mind. But from the perspective of a CEO, this was a fantastic piece of content, something that could even become its own intellectual property. It wasn't original, but it grabbed the reader's emotions and refused to let go, making them love and hate it in equal measure. For the current era, it was guaranteed to be a massive hit with teenagers and young adults. Hearing his praise, Fiona beamed, her face lighting up with joy. Mr. Chun, does this mean I'm going to be famous? Yes. And remember to buy a helmet. Huh? Why do I need a helmet? To protect yourself from bricks falling out of the sky. And whatever you do, don't reveal your real name. Oh, okay. I'll remember. Bricks from the sky. Fiona was confused. How is that even possible? Write it well. There might be a surprise for you later, Cole said, forcing a smile while suppressing his inner rage. From a business perspective, this story was a goldmine. Once he had some free time early next year, he could invest in a short web series based on it, to be streamed exclusively on Headline Today to drive traffic. A surprise? What kind of surprise, Mr. Chun? Fiona's eyes glittered with the prospect of a bonus. You'll know when the time comes, Cole said with a faint smile, detaching himself from his emotional reaction as a reader. This story was guaranteed to be a hit. Judging by its popularity, Headline Today was starting to build real influence among college students, which was a good thing. Fiona had immense talent, but she was going to need a thick skin. Cole didn't mind his content team taking on side projects like this, as long as it didn't interfere with their main duties. Mr. Chun, I have something I need to talk to you about, Wyatt said, raising his hand, a gesture he'd picked up from Fiona. A junior programmer who had been hired later looked at Cole with a hint of anxiety. Okay, let's go to the small conference room. Wyatt rarely asked for private meetings, which made Cole curious. Once they were in the small conference room with the door closed, Wyatt rubbed his hands together, looking embarrassed. It's like this, Mr. Chun, it's about Zung. He seemed to have trouble getting the words out. Just say it, it's fine, Cole said, though his heart sank a little. Is he quitting? It wouldn't be the end of the world. Better now than later. With the benefits headline today offered, they wouldn't have trouble finding a replacement. Under Jasmine's guidance, the entire engineering team had signed new employment contracts and non-disclosure agreements. These stipulated that all technology and intellectual property belonged to the company and included a non-compete clause for departing employees. In return, he offered excellent compensation and flexible working hours to prevent the leakage of core technology. He had discussed this face-to-face with the engineering team. Those who agreed stayed, and those who didn't were replaced. Zung was from the newer batch of hires, a short, quiet junior. Zung was wondering if he could borrow $3,000 from you. His mother is sick and needs surgery, and his family's finances are a little tight. Have him write an IOU with a 6-month repayment term. Cole agreed without hesitation. Make the IOU out to the company. I'll have finance transfer the money. An advance on his salary was an easy thing to approve. As long as it wasn't for something shady or an astronomical amount, he was willing to help. Everyone runs into emergencies. He wouldn't even make Zung come in for a private chat. It was important to give Wyatt face. Great, Mr. Chun, I'll go get him, Wyatt said, visibly excited and moved. Okay, and if anyone on the team runs into difficulties, they should feel free to bring it up. Once you're part of Headline today, you're one of us. The company will take care of its people, Cole said, his words carrying a double meaning. The fact that Wyatt had offered to bring Zung in himself showed that he wasn't trying to use this as an opportunity to indebt the junior programmer to him personally. But a reminder was still necessary. As the company grew, the stability of the core technical team was paramount. Understand, Mr. Chun. Don't worry, Wyatt said, immediately getting the message and showing his loyalty. Good. Wyatt returned to the main office, and a moment later, Zung came in. Thank you, Mr. Chun. I'll definitely work hard to repay you, Zung said, his face full of gratitude, his eyes shining with emotion. He hadn't held out much hope. After all, who would lend $3,000 to an employee who'd only been there a month? He never expected it to be approved. I'll always support my team in an emergency. I don't want you guys to have worries holding you back, Cole said with a smile. Keep up the good work. I'll have finance wire you the money shortly. After expressing his profuse thanks, Zung went back to the office to write the IOU. A co-worker, Lou, whispered, Did you get it? Zung nodded emphatically, letting out a long sigh of relief. Yeah, Mr. Chun is a really stand-up guy. No question about it. Repaying the loan in 6 months was more than generous. With his salary and bonuses, he could probably pay it back in 2 or 3. But his boss had solved a massive problem for him, saving him the humiliation of begging friends and family for money he might not have gotten anyway. After he submitted the IOU, the company's finance department quickly transferred the $2,000 to his account. Looking at the deposit notification, Zung was overcome with emotion. His family had scraped together only $1,000. He had been desperate when he decided to ask. In that moment, he secretly vowed to give his all to the company. Soon, everyone in the office knew. It was a small space. Secrets didn't last long. A new wave of motivation swept through the team. Beyond the excellent pay, they now had an added layer of security. The knowledge that the boss would have your back in a crisis, even if you never needed it, was a powerful comfort. They had all done part-time jobs elsewhere and had been burned more than once. The pay was low, and you were lucky if you even got it. Some of them had never been paid for their work, forced to swallow the loss. This made them cherish Cole's gesture even more. In a small conference room, Cole explained the situation to Jasmine. As the director of administration, she needed to be aware. Jasmine's reply was succinct. Okay, noted. Still so detached. Cole grinned. Ever since that night they kissed, she'd been avoiding him. I guess I'll just have to kiss her more often. Maybe she'll get used to it. Busy days always fly by. After Preston's viral fame, a number of aspiring comedians had popped up on Headline today. Some were funny, some were cringy, but the platform was full of life. The algorithm and site architecture were constantly being optimized to provide users with a better, more personalized experience. All that was left was to launch the advertising platform. The deep connection they'd built with the Tea Alchemist had set a perfect precedent and would be the foundation for attracting other advertisers. Cole was already discussing with Wyatt the future of Headline today, planning and developing a mobile version of the site. In the afternoon, at the original Tea Alchemist shop, Luna, who only had one class, came in early to help out and train some of the new hires. She carried her laptop bag with her everywhere, just in case she needed it for financial work. She had just been in the storage room transferring the payment for the next phase of renovations. As she was explaining the steps for making a latte to a new employee, the doorway brightened. A beautiful woman walked in. Luna remembered her. It was the woman from last time. She didn't know that Jasmine was the director of administration, but Jasmine knew she was in charge of finance. The two women exchanged a smile. Jasmine spoke first. "My name is Jasmine Shun. I'm here to have a chat with the new staff." Hearing the name, Luna finally remembered. The director of administration in their group chat was named Jasmine Shun. She smiled and said hello. She didn't know what to say next, feeling a bit lost. Then, remembering her co-workers might not know, she quickly made the introduction. "This is the Tea Alchemist Director of Administration, Jasmine Chun. Everyone, you can call her Director Chun." She didn't mention headline today. Since Director Chun was here, she was representing the Tea Alchemist. Wendy and the others immediately greeted her. If Luna said it, it had to be true. "Hello, everyone. I've been busy with other things, so I'm here today to create a group chat, get to know all of you, and have a brief chat with our new colleagues." Jasmine explained her purpose gracefully. She had been swamped drafting new employment contracts, confidentiality agreements, and company policies for headline today. She hadn't had time for the Tea Alchemist. Today, she was here to talk to the new hires and communicate with the new store manager. The manager of a new store was ultimately chosen from the original staff, a girl who was willing to commute the 3 miles to the ETC branch. Wendy, Brianna, and the others were a bit intimidated. Director Chun had a powerful presence, and she was stunningly beautiful. A thought crossed all their minds. The director of administration is this gorgeous. Could she and Mr. Chun be a thing? Is Luna about to face a rival? It was a slow afternoon, so Jasmine gathered the new hires at a round table in the back. She got to know them, talked about the company's vision, and explained the training and development opportunities for employees, reinforcing their positive impression of the Tea Alchemist. Of the 4 new hires, 3 were sophomores from Eastwood Teachers College, and 1 was from Eastwood University. The ETC students would be working at the new branch. They were all very impressed with Jasmine. She was beautiful and had no airs about her. Afterward, Jasmine called the new store manager over for a chat. Luna brought her a hot latte, and Jasmine smiled, nodded her thanks. The new manager came from a modest background, and this job was a huge relief for her family. She was diligent, hardworking, and skilled, which was why she was chosen. "If you run into any problems over there, don't panic. Just notify Mr. Chun or me immediately." "I will, Director Chun. And when you go to make the daily bank deposit, have a coworker go with you, just in case." "Okay." After speaking with everyone, Jasmine finally turned to Luna with a smile and a wave. Luna walked over, feeling a little anxious. In her mind, she was just a grunt with no experience handling this kind of situation. "Are your classes heavy lately?" Jasmine asked gently. "Yeah, a little." Luna nodded softly, not knowing where to put her hands. "Relax, we're just chatting," Jasmine said, a knowing glint in her eye. "Mr. Shouldn't trust you a lot. You're not just some ordinary finance clerk. You're on the same level as me. For the finance role to be entrusted to this girl, Cole must have absolute faith in her." Not that Jasmine was jealous. She was confident that if she had studied accounting, Cole would have given her the job without a second thought. The finances had to be controlled by someone trustworthy, and a hardworking girl with a simple background like Luna was the perfect choice. "Okay," Luna said, looking up at Jasmine, feeling a bit more at ease. She didn't know what her level was. Cole had never said. Hearing Jasmine put it that way, did that mean she was a director too? The thought made her feel a little embarrassed. She didn't know anything. "Are you getting along with your roommates?" Jasmine tried to learn a little more, though she had no intention of asking how she met Cole. "It's good. Brianna and I are roommates," Luna said, a smile touching her lips as she gestured toward Brianna. "That's good to hear. Having good roommates makes college life less lonely." Jasmine thought of her own roommates with a sigh. Her best friend, Alex,